Good morning, Thrivers. Heather here. I am in New Mexico at my grandmother's house, and my children and I just spent the morning picking apricots off of her apricot tree. And it's just been an absolutely beautiful morning out here in the garden and listening to the birds and relaxing and enjoying with my children. Today is a really exciting day as we continue the reopening of our Live Path course. And I just want to congratulate everyone who's joined. We have almost more than half the spots are already gone. So just congratulations to everyone who joined. Today I was listening to one of my favorite YouTubers and he was talking about, if I don't like the results I see, I have the power to change them. And I was listening to his Affirmations. It's Kenneth Suarez, if you want to look him up, Kenneth Suarez. And he does a lot of I am affirmations. And as you know, here at High Thrive Coaching, we believe in the power of your mindset and in the power of using your subconscious mind to steer your life in the direction that you want to go. So rather than being kind of at the mercy of life and all the challenges of life, we are creators of our lives. We are the captains of our ship. And it doesn't mean that we don't face storms and we don't face hard times, but that we use our power and our intention to navigate through those, and we become the better versions of ourselves, so that despite the challenges that externally might be happening, internally we are strong, we are sound, we are at peace, we have serenity. We have confidence in our ability to affect the changes over the things that we have control over. And then we surrender to a higher power, or whatever you might want to call it, the things that we cannot control. So I want you, if you're watching this, and I can see Dan, Maddie, and several others. Hello, good morning. I want you to check in with yourself, and I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How true do you believe that about yourself? 1 being, I don't believe that at all. It doesn't resonate. And 10 being, I do believe that that is true. That resonates with me, and I know that that is true. So on that scale of 1 to 10, ask yourself, if I don't like the results I see, I have the power to change them. Do you believe that? On a scale of 1 to 10, maybe you're at a 1 and you say, no, I don't believe I have the power to change my results. I think that there are things outside of my control and I have no ability to affect those changes. Or a 10, yes, I do believe that I have the power to change the results that I'm seeing. Or maybe you're somewhere a little bit in the middle. So I would encourage you to be really honest about that and have that self-awareness. This was really powerful for me as I learned these things and I faced circumstances in my life, some of them very much out of my control and some of them very much in my control. And I would state, some of you are going to be like, well, Heather, surely there are things I have no control over and I can't affect everything that's going on in my life, right? Sometimes there are things that happen to us that we can't control. And I would agree, there are things that we cannot control. However, if the same things keep happening in our lives and we keep experiencing the same kind of difficulties, if we keep experiencing the same kind of relationship, if we keep experiencing the same pattern in our marriage or the same negative cycle within us, with our health, with our money, with our love, with anything that's going on in our lives, then that is a pattern that we are causing to show up on the external world that's really happening because of the internal world. Okay? If the same things keep happening, then that's a determining factor, is that it's coming from something within us and that we are self-fulfilling prophecies. So what I believe is going to come about, comes about. Have you ever met someone that's just like, I know bad things are always going to happen to me. I know that no matter what, on Monday, there's never going to be a parking spot. Or every time I want to go to the beach, it's going to rain, right? And these things, they seem coincidental. They seem like chaos. They seem random. But then you meet other people and they say, I am a good luck charm. Great things happen to me. I have amazing relationships. When I go into a business deal, I always come out with a win-win situation and everyone's happy about it. When I go to a party, I light up the room. Anything like that. And you can see their intention creates their reality. And it seems like luck. It seems like mystery. Like, why do always good things always happen to that person? And then you realize that their entire mindset is that they expect it to happen, and they believe it will happen, and they resonate with that, and they look for the opportunities that allow those things to happen. And when they take action, they do it with confidence, knowing that that is who they are and how their life is meant to be. So for me, I was caught in some really negative cycles in my relationships. I had developed the belief as a young adult and even as a teenager that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't worthy of love, that I couldn't fully trust people because I wasn't good enough. They were eventually going to leave me for something better, something that would be good enough. And I had this story of what good enough was, and basically it was unrealistic perfection, right? And so I was driven to try to be good enough, to try to be the good housewife, to take care of the children, to be a loving, perfect mother and have everything organized, have the house always clean, and that I needed to be loving and take care of my husband and meet all of his needs, and that I needed to keep myself physically beautiful and attractive, and that if I was anything less than this bar, then I wasn't good enough. And I constantly showed myself, look, you're falling short, you're not good enough. And the internal story that I never really recognized on a conscious level, but that was really driving the entire results I was seeing and in my marriage and in my life for years, was that I wasn't good enough, and that eventually Ben would leave me. And so the cycle was that I would crave having a close connected relationship, and I would crave feeling accepted. I would crave wanting to know I was good enough and trying to prove it through these certain measures that I thought I had to. Sorry, my arm's getting tired. And what happened was I would always fall short of what I thought it had to be. And then I would pull away from my husband, and I would feel like I needed to protect myself because eventually he was going to leave me, because in my own mind I wasn't good enough. And he never gave me those messages. But what he would do is he would respond to my pulling away or my getting angry or defensive or whatever was driving my behavior because of what was going on internally, that then he would start to pull away. And then his pulling away would just be further evidence to me, oh, look, see, he's pulling away, I'm not good enough, and eventually he's just going to leave. And it would create this cycle that we lived in for years. And the whole thing was that it was something that I was bringing about because of what was going on internally within myself. And it wasn't until I realized that that was a story I could change, right? If I don't like the results I see, I didn't like that we would get into these cycles of pulling away from each other. And then I would get so scared that I would blow up. Like I would get really angry, or I would get really volatile, and I would create a huge emotionally charged experience, I guess is the best way to put it, that Ben and I would have to go through, because then I would finally feel like we would have to resolve it and come to some measure of peace and some measure of healing and some measure of security. And I didn't know how to get that without going through a really unhealthy pattern of bringing a lot of negativity and anger and volatility into the situation. So it was like if things would become so tense, I couldn't stand it anymore. So then I would have to make it blow up to get Ben to respond, to be able to solve it at all. Oh, and I've got a grumpy girl here. Sorry. And so if you're seeing the same patterns showing up for you in your life, then make sure you're understanding, where they are coming from. And if they're not the results that you want to see, know that we do have the power to change the majority of them. And that if there's something that we cannot control, like a natural disaster, an act of God, something that truly is beyond us, the actions of another person we know we can never control, but we focus 90% on what we can control, and then we surrender the rest. That's where we find our peace. That's where we find our security. That's where we find our inner strength and our power to then meet those challenges as the very best version of ourselves. So that is my encouragement for you today. Good. I'm seeing some of you say that you rate yourself as a 7, a 10. Beautiful. And Lisa says, oh, how I need this, right? This is what it's what it's about. And our culture, our society would try to rob us of our power. They would try to say that life just happens. It's just, these things just happen to you. And that's just life, right? Life sucks and then you die, right? What a bogus attitude that is. You know, it completely changes everything when we recognize that we have incredible power within us and that we have the ability to shape and mold our future and our present experience. That if we're not feeling that we have power, that we have peace, that we have confidence, that we have the ability to bring about some of the things that we want, then we're robbing ourselves of that happiness and that joy, and that's a tragedy. But we can do it, and we can start to make those shifts now to move into that. And it's worth everything. The shift is incredible when you know that you are who you're meant to be and you're living true to that every day. Challenges still come, but that we face them with that power and with that grace and with that strength. And every challenge comes to make us even better and help us to, just to become who we want to be. That's the only really way that there is to say it. So thank you for sharing this with me today. And if you are feeling a lot of that self-doubt and a lot of those limiting beliefs, even rate yourself on that scale of 1 to 10, like we do in our Change the Story exercise. If you're a relationship reboot member or a member of any of our other programs, it's essential to what we teach. Then go through that and see where you might be keeping yourself stuck. See what might be holding you back. And I do this regularly, and it amazes me that sometimes things creep up that I think I had mastered, or I didn't think that was really a thing for me. Or as I get to another level, I realize, oh, there's another entire direction I could take my life. There's another whole higher level, and it's always about progressing and growing and becoming better and better and better. So go through that. And if you see that you're rating yourself at a 6 or below, then you have some limiting beliefs that are causing results to show up in your life that you aren't wanting. And you had the power to change those and replace them with empowering beliefs that are unlimited beliefs. And those will start to bring about results in your life that you really want to see. All right, Michael says, I have become my best self and I'm so happy for my future. Wife has made it very clear that she is impressed. I can't see the rest of it. I have become me because of you, he says. Oh, thank you, Michael. You've done just absolutely fabulous. And that is what it's all about. So if you haven't joined our Life Path course, again, I'm going to send another plug because there's only a few spots left. And this is what we teach you to do. This is what life is all about. It's about becoming the best version of ourselves, taking advantage of opportunity when it presents itself so that we don't keep ourselves in the same painful rut year after year and keep going through the same cycles in your relationship, just like I did with my husband for years, but that you can create a new and bright and brilliant future for you and all of your loved ones. All right, I appreciate you, and we'll talk again soon.